Tomorrow night, U.S. House Republicans will hold a candidate forum for Speaker at 6:30. Republican Representative Austin Scott from Georgia's 8th Congressional District has now thrown his name back in the ring. He dropped out of the race initially to support Ohio Republican Jim Jordan, but now that Jordan has dropped out, Scott has thrown his name back in since the field is wide open. The House now still at a standstill, operating without a speaker for 17 days since they voted out Republican Kevin McCarthy. This means right now the House cannot conduct votes on any business other than electing a new speaker, despite a recent call from President Biden for aid to Israel and Ukraine. A closed-door election for Speaker is expected to take place on Tuesday morning at 9, according to interim Speaker Patrick McHenry. Joining me now is Kristen Welker, moderator of NBC's Meet the Press. Good morning, Kristen.
Hi, Christy. Good to be with you. Good morning.
The House Speaker saga continues more than 2 weeks in, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. Now that Jim Jordan has dropped out, Georgia Republican Representative Austin Scott has thrown his name in the ring for the position. What do you think it'll take to end this paralysis and finally elect a new GOP speaker?
Well, that's the key question, Christy, because look, there's already so much pressure on House Republicans to resolve this chaos that the world is witnessing, and so far they haven't been able to do it. We know there are now about 10 candidates with their hat to the ring, and in addition to who you mentioned, we know that Byron Donalds of Florida has thrown his hat in. We know that Tom Emmer, a moderate who has earned the backing of former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who I'll be speaking to on the show, by the way, he's in the race. Kevin Hern of Oklahoma, someone who's a Trump loyalist, is also in the race. That's just to name a few. There are about 10 candidates right now. They have until noon today, Eastern time, to actually get their name in. And then the goal is to hold a vote on Tuesday. But I've been talking to folks who say that doesn't seem realistic given how many candidates they are dealing with right now. And there are urgent issues at the forefront. That request by President Biden for more than $100 billion in aid to Israel and Ukraine. And don't forget, they are facing a potential government shutdown now less than a month away. And the big question becomes, can they govern in this critical moment? And I think that's where the pressure point is. There's going to be a lot of heat for them to resolve this week. But the question is, will they be able to, Christy?
A lot to watch coming up this week. Also, this past week, two of former President Trump's co-defendants, Kenneth Chesebro and Sidney Powell, pleaded guilty in the Georgia election interference case here. With those two people flipped, what kind of legal damage do you think Trump could face in his upcoming trial?
We'll have to see. What we know is that they have agreed to testify against other defendants. That is significant. There is no doubt that this is impacting Trump world. But the question is, what will their testimony be? What will they actually have to say? That remains to be seen. I'm going to be talking to former Vice President Mike Pence, who, remember, has said that former President Trump was relying on the advice of what he called a bunch of quote unquote crackpot lawyers. So how does he see this development? I will be curious to see, but it is very significant that you have these people who are now pleading guilty to these charges and cooperating with prosecutors. Christy?
All right, Kristen, thanks so much for your insight. Meet the Press airs at 10 right after 11 Alive Weekend Morning News.